866-5555. Jacksonville. Old school.
Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Stolen by Bird and the cut to DJ. Yeah! Buckle up for Kobe Bryant.
New era.
Oh! A jawbreaker! Curry way downtown. Bang!
It's all basketball.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Lace 'em up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
And we fill in for both Rick Ballou as well as Ryan the Hacker Green. It's another edition of Open Gym here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. RJ Saunders, Dylan Denmark here with you. Glad you guys are here with us. Game 4 of the NBA Finals is tonight. The U.S. Open still well underway. Father's Day is upon us. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. We have a lot to talk about over these next 2 hours. We'd love your opinion on today's program. A couple of ways you can do so. One being the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure 641-1010 or on our various digital media platforms. So we are officially out of the off-season program. We now hit the dead period, but before we blink, we're going to be in training camp. This is where the rubber hits the road for a lot of these prospective players, but also there's got to be a lot in which you want to see. So that's where I kind of want to start off this program by asking you this question. What burning questions do you have that you want answered by the time we get out of training camp and we get into those preseason games and we're headed towards the regular season? What is something that you want us in the media or just the media at large to be able to tell us in terms of what's going on that practice field? Because this is a very important year. Whether that's fair or unfair to new head coach Liam Cohen, the entire new regime that features James Gladstone as well, Tony Baselli, now the EVP, Trevor Lawrence, as we've talked about many times over these airwaves, this is a critical year for him. Travis Hunter, the promised son that is going to be the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL, or at least that's what James Gladstone predicts. Training camp is going to be very vital for this ball club. And Tony Baselli was with the drill earlier this morning, and he said, come training camp, this is what we can expect.
It's going to be a physical camp.
Okay. As physical as you can allow it to be? Or?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, that's who Liam is.
Okay.
I mean, Liam is he's a competitive, tough-minded individual who has a lot of energy and thinks football's supposed to be played a certain way. And I think that'll be reflected on how we practice. Now, there are rules and parameters that we have to follow, and we obviously will follow those, and we're going to take care of our guys. And I think the most important thing in camp is that we're doing things at that time, no different than the period we just went through, to organize and to have an approach that does one thing and one thing only: gets us ready and prepares us to have the opportunity to win games in September. And I think that's the approach of camp as well.
Let's get physical. Now, let's not get too physical to the point to where these guys get injured. You hear that from Tony Baselli in that clip as he was with the drill earlier today. We've dealt with a lot of injuries with this ball club throughout the years. I'm not saying that there's going to be a clean bill of health coming out of training camp, but for our main guys, we want to see them as healthy as they possibly can be so that we can get ready for this season, hopefully take the AFC South crown, get into the playoffs, get into the tournament. Let's see what happens. But I do believe that having competition there in many spots with that team, physicality is something that we are going to need to see because you're, of course, going to want to see the best guys out there. But we heard Jamal St. Cyr yesterday on our program. He spoke about how Anton Harrison needs to take what Liam Cohen said as a wake-up call. Liam Cohen talks about when he's on, he's on. But he needs to be consistent. And that's a word I'm underlining with this entire team. That's what I want to see from this team in training camp. Consistency. How are these guys going to be coming into training camp? I know a lot of them are just going to be trying to make the roster. But for the main guys, how consistent are you going to be during this process? Even though you've been through a million training camps, if you're a vet, you have to come in here with a mindset to understand that this team is honestly looking to turn things around. Now, that may not be year one. Maybe playoffs is the only thing, and that's what we should be expecting. But we want to go from that to hopefully down the line we're saying we can make a run and face the who's who. Remember last year, Andre Sisco basically blamed that entire bunch, played the blame game with them, pointed the finger at everybody in the locker room, said, I saw a lot of quit today. Now, for me personally, listening to that, I do feel like a lot went into that quote. I think they quit on their coach, the whole entire regime that was there, that whole entire operation. I think early on that season, I think they quit on it. That's just my opinion. But there were also times where Andre Sisco quit defensively himself. But the tone that I feel that was there was a lack of consistency. And can these guys consistently get better over the course of training camp? That's going to be the thing in which we have to be looking at. That's what I want to see from the media. The individuals who do talk here at 1010XL. The guys who we follow that cover the Jaguars on Twitter. Let's see how consistent this team is able to be, both offensively and defensively. Also in the joint practices that we're going to have this year. As you're learning the new offense, as you're learning the defensive schemes, now it gets to the point to where now you have pads on. Can the offense be consistent? Can the offense win the day more times than not? Now, we also need to see the defense win the day. I mean, the game is not just solely played on one side of the ball. But Jamal St. Cyr, he also said this. He said that I think by the time we get to training camp, those nuances and those things that need to be tightened up just a tad bit, and as Trevor Lawrence continues to do his recovery process, because it's been 4 months since he's last thrown a football, he's now doing it throughout this off-season program. He says we're going to be quite pleased with what we see from this new offense. Because let's just be honest, last year's offense was a problem. When Hayes Carline says that the media spoke to Doug Peterson last season, and they asked Doug, is this essentially the same offense that you guys ran in 2017 with the Philadelphia Eagles? And he says, yes. That's kind of a problem. The reason why it was a problem in my eyes is because the league is forever evolving. Not the fact that I think that offense can't win a Super Bowl again, but it's an evolving league. You need fresh ideas. It kind of is akin to what the triangle offense was in Chicago and also in LA. I think we see some forms of that in Golden State when they were winning their championships. This is what Kobe Bryant, when he talked about, this is what made the triangle so deadly. We could start out with a sequence, but if you cut off a particular play, we have counters to all of them. Now, I understand that basketball is different from football in terms of the sequence you can start out with, and then you have a counter to what the defense is giving you. I understand we call that audibles, but in terms of that fast pace, I understand it's a different game. However, it seemed like he didn't want to move from what that offense was. He being Doug Peterson. And I understand he probably said I needed a few other guys who could understand the system in which we were trying to run. I understand that you guys like to blame press for a lot, and rightfully so. If somebody was going to have an honest conversation with Doug Peterson, I think when he was calling plays, I think the offense ran just a tad bit better. However, it did seem to me that Trevor Lawrence, maybe some of that stuff began to get kind of confusing even for him. So now you bring in the fresh face, the fresh sound, a new offense that I've said a million times from that opening press conference. Liam said this is all going to work around that quarterback. And it seems that during this process, Trevor Lawrence, he's picked up this offense rather well, and he's enjoying it, at least from what he's said to the media. Here's the QB on this new offense.
I really like it. It has a lot of answers. It's great. I mean, it puts a lot on the players. You have to know your stuff, but it gives you all the answers. You don't feel like you're stuck in a play that's not set up for success. It gives us a lot of answers, and we change the presentation a lot. We make a lot of things look the same. There's a whole lot of, without going into too much detail, there's a lot of things that I like about it, and it's definitely unlike any system that I've learned before. So it's been cool to learn and just pick the coach's brain and try to get it down as fast as possible.
You have it? You have to take a test to pass it?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have everything in yet. We build up to that, but from what we have in so far, yeah, I would hope so. That's what I've been working to try to, get it all down. I feel good about it. Just got to now take it from knowing it to second nature, to where you don't think about it. You hear the play call, you spit it out, you go play, and you play fast and you're not thinking about it. That's always kind of the transition when you learn a system. You got to get it down to where you can just react.
Sounds very good to me coming from the franchise quarterback. Now, when it comes to the offense as a whole, I think I would like to hear how the offensive line is doing. You may have all the answers if you're Trevor Lawrence, or you're saying that the offense has a structure where it's giving you a lot of the answers, but we won't be able to see those answers if the problem is you're consistently on your ass all the time. If the offensive line can't create any holes for a run game in which Liam Cohen, I feel, is going to be banging on the table to have, then we have a consistent problem there. The running backs, please, for the life of me, don't fumble, especially game one. All that's going to be important in this next phase before we get to the regular season. Defensively, I would like to see the D-tackle room being able to move that offensive line. We say that the interior offensive line hasn't been able to stop a cold, and that's what's created such difficulty for guys such as Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen to get to the quarterback at a rate in which we would feel satisfied as fans. And I understand that all this in which I'm asking is hard to tell without pads, but once we get to training camp, we'll have the pads on. Not get too physical. That's not what I want. Save that for the opponents we have this year. But play game speed. They know when to let up. They know when to hold off. But let's be able to turn all that around because we want to see consistency here. We want to see these guys get better. And if you can create pressure on the defensive end to get to the QB, I think that a guy such as Emmanuel Ogbah, Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, even Eric Armstead, who's moving back to his natural position, we could have a very good defense. And it doesn't have to be reliant on the fact that you just have two guys who are, in their own respect, supernovas. There are going to be many questions here coming training camp. I would love to know your questions that you are going to have or what you would like to see during the training camp process. 641-1010 is the number. When we come back, we'll stick with the NFL. Let's bring in Omar Ruiz from the NFL Network. Will the Jaguars be one of his bounce-back teams coming into the 2025 season? Let's find out next on Open Gym.
Jacksonville Sports, Island in the Sun. 1010XL.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
The Poker Atlas Tour is blazing its way through Best Bet St. Augustine now through June 15th. Get in on the action with 7 poker events, highlighted by Event 1 with an impressive $100,000 guarantee, and the $600 No Limit Hold'em title event, boasting a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. Join us at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Poker Atlas Poker Tour. Head to bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
I'm Max Fink on your Gator station. 1010XL is your pipeline to Gator Nation. Listen to the Gator Report all year round.
Freshened up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators. 1010XL.
Go, Gator!
Tucker Equipment Rental in Neptune Beach. You just don't rent quality machines, you rent quality customer service. Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Dave. Tucker Equipment Rental has been supplying Jacksonville with equipment and event rental for over 50 years.
From commercial and homeowner projects, we've got what you need: lifts, dirt equipment, and landscape equipment.
And don't forget about event rentals, from festivals to weddings to backyard barbecues.
Local, knowledgeable, and always ready to help.
Tucker Equipment Rentals. You need it, we've got it, come see us.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, every day feels like the weekend. Fresh, never frozen chicken wings, tossed in over 30 bold flavors, paired with ice-cold beer and handcrafted cocktails, all in a laid-back, beachy atmosphere. And with every game on the big screens, it's the ultimate escape, and you're home for sports, too. Great food, cold drinks, and all the games. That's Hurricane Grill and Wings. Escape the ordinary and find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text Kettle to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text KETTLE to 321-321. That's Kettle to 321-321.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron. Totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens. Also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coatings. We transform pool decks, driveways, and patios with pro precision. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
I am absolutely humbled by being joined by our next guest. I met this guy at the Pro Bowl. I want to say 2016, 2017. Didn't say anything to me. All he did was put his hand on my shoulder because he knew I was a guy that was very green in this business, and he pointed to where I needed to go and had me follow him for a short while. And then finally, when he spoke, he said, if you need anything, just let me know. And I'm glad that the friendship has grown from there. He is Omar Ruiz of the NFL Network, joining us right now on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Mr. Ruiz, thank you so much for joining me, sir.
RJ, no problem, man. Good to hear from you. And happy summertime, man. It's summer in the NFL. Let's go.
Absolutely. Definitely an exciting time in the National Football League. And here in Jacksonville, I just wanted to get your opinion from a national perspective. How do you guys at the NFL Network look at the Jags? Is this a team that has a ton of potential or a team that has just been overly disappointing in your guys' opinion? Just the overall outlook of the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you view the ball club?
Well, it's both. I think it's, when they made that playoff run a couple years ago and you thought that, coming back against the Chargers and then, getting to the next round of the playoffs, this was what the Trevor Lawrence era is going to be like in Jacksonville. Right. They're going to be perennial contenders in the postseason, and they're going to ascend from there. And obviously it hasn't happened. So, when you look at, the recent drafts with Travis Hunter, obviously this year, and Brian Thomas last year, and the potential that you talked about, it's there. The optimism is there, but there's also been disappointment there. And so I think when you look into the 2025 season, new regime, obviously Liam Cohen coming in, see what he brings to the table. I think the AFC South, I don't think anyone's really going to run away from it. Right. Although Houston, has won a playoff game each of the last couple of years. So you would think of them as the favorite with C.J. Stroud leading the way. But I think that the division is still there for the taking. And I think, hope remains for Jacksonville. And for us, from the NFL Network's perspective, that's what we do in the offseason. We sell hope. We sell optimism because that's what the parity and the league is built for. Right. And I think the Jags, as far as a turnaround season goes, are as capable of any out there heading into the 25 season.
You brought up Travis Hunter, and it just seems like there's a mixed bag when it comes to the number 2 overall pick. In terms of this, there seems to have been many guests that we've had here in Jacksonville that say we see him more as a corner than a receiver. Others will say that he's going to be a better receiver as he continues to learn and grow and develop at that position than he'll be overall as a corner. So for a guy that does want to play both sides, what do you see him as more, and how would you utilize him on both sides of the ball?
That's a great question. For me, the first thing I think about when this was first even being a topic, as he got ready for the draft and transitioning from the electrifying college career to the pros, and you just think about all these years covering these great players in the NFL and the future Hall of Famers and the guys that are the elite of the elite. I just think about how much time they prepare, how much film they watch, how much care they take into their craft. Right. And I think Travis Hunter has the will, he has the ability, he has the want to, the work ethic, all of that. But I just don't know how much time there is to put forth, the effort that it requires to be an elite player on both sides of the ball.
Right.
And so, and I think you would rather have an electrifying, bona fide superstar on one side of the ball than a very good player on both sides of the ball from one individual athlete. So, I sort of think about that. That's the sort of, what my jumping off point when talking about Travis Henner. Where I see him potentially in the NFL is where you can make more of a difference is a ball-hawking defensive player that can get your offense more possessions. And I think that's where he can make the biggest impact on the game. Yes, he could be a great receiver, but so can a lot of other guys. But to have the ball skills that he has, the cover ability that he has, to put those two together on the defensive side of the football, I think that's where he can truly wreck a game and put his fingerprints all over the organization in each and every Sunday in his career.
Continuing our conversation with Omar Ruiz. He is a host on the NFL Network, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. One more on the Jaguars, but this one about their star wide receiver and Brian Thomas Jr. Many guys are high on him coming into this year, just based off what we saw last season. So for you, when it comes to best receivers in the game right now, where do you have Brian Thomas Jr. in that mix?
Well, I mean, I would say, he's probably still top 15-ish, but, certainly, on his way up. For me, when you watch Brian Thomas Jr., I mean, you talk about electrifying players. He's the one that shows up on tape. He just shows up when you see the highlights. Like, what a great player. But, for me, the guys that kind of do it in the postseason, in big games, that's kind of where, how I rank guys like that. So, no fault to him. He hasn't had that opportunity yet. But I think, this is the year if the optimism hits and the Jaguars turn it around, like I think, everyone hopes they do, because that would be a fun and exciting team to rally around from a national standpoint with all that young talent they have on the team and Brian Thomas being at the heart of that. So I think, he has every bit of ability to kind of move into that top 5, top 10 range. But, until he does so in bigger games, can't really kind of hand that over to him. But as far as ability and who I enjoy watching and make plays, he's certainly right up there.
Now, I want to go around the league with you before I let you go here. And the answer doesn't necessarily have to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, you cover the league very, very well, as you do on the NFL Network. Is there a team that you have in your mind that you're saying is going to have a bounce back year this season?
A true bounce back? I would like to think, I just mentioned them in the division, the Texans.
Okay.
And you would think that, kind of going 10-7, hosting a playoff game, winning a playoff game wouldn't be a bounce back. But I think the way they exploded on the scene in 23 with C.J. Stroud, and then all the sort of upheaval that they had on the offensive side of the football, it seemed like they took all season to try to find their rhythm, and then they got rid of Bobby Slowick as offensive coordinator. They brought in Nick Caley from the L.A. Rams. And I think when you look at that maneuver and the way C.J. Stroud is talking this offseason, I think that is a team that is capable of kind of getting back into upper echelon and a true contender, which is kind of a scary thing to think about when you talk about a team that has gone to the Final Four in the conference the last couple years. And so, I think they would be somebody that would look to bounce back. The other one I'd look to bounce back is the 49ers. I think every year they've had a bad season under Kyle Shanahan. The next year they bounce back and they make a deep run. And I know they had some sort of, the Super Bowl hangover last year and going through the Brandon Ayuk, contract negotiations that, turned a little sour, and Trent Williams holding out for a large part of the year and all the injuries that they suffered in 24. But I think you look at that, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, I don't think any of those issues that they had throughout the course of the year and whatever, the contract issues stemmed onto the field, I don't think there would have been much of issues at all. Right. But obviously Christian McCaffrey was hurt, and if he can bounce back the way they expect him to, the way he says he's healthy right now, I think that would be a team that definitely improves from a 6-11 record they had last year.
Final couple of moments with Omar Ruiz of the NFL Network joining us here on Open Gym. What do you make of the Cleveland Browns QB battle? I mean, it seems like Joe Flacco was slated to be the guy, and he very well still could be come week one. But I open up Twitter, and it just seems that the Browns community and the reporters that are there keep talking about how well Shedeur Sanders is playing during this offseason process. So who wins that battle, in your opinion, if you had to guess there in Cleveland?
Yeah, it's a good point because, the things I read is that Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel are doing great.
Right.
So I think they're giving all of these players, because you figure Kenny Pickett, he's from the 2022 draft. He's still a young player. Right. So, I think they're giving every opportunity for the 2 draft picks this year. You mentioned Sanders, Gabriel, and then Kenny Pickett, the chance to grow and develop, and maybe one of them can take the reins of this team and be the quarterback of the future. I think, they would hope that. And then Joe Flacco, they know what they can get there as he came in and played great at the end of the 23 season and helped get them to the playoffs. When you talk about this Browns quarterback race from a big picture standpoint, I think Kevin Stefanski, the way he operates, the way they were able to play 4 different quarterbacks in 2023 and still make the postseason and make it work. I think they have a lot of belief in Stefanski. He has a lot of belief in his coaching ability, how he can coach up quarterbacks. So I think they're hoping one emerges that the team can rally around, that the team can have confidence in, that Myles Garrett, for all the talk in the offseason about wanting to play for a contender, that he can believe in, that they can get the locker room moving in the right direction. But it'll be fascinating to see how it turns out, given the fascination with Shedeur Sanders and the fall in the draft, and now seems to be playing great and adjusting to life in the NFL. It'll be certainly one of the stories we'll be watching come training camp time.
Final one for you before I let you go. Aaron Rodgers finally has a new home, but he's going to be in a tough AFC North there. How do you think he fares in Pittsburgh?
It's a good question. I think for the first time in a long time, he won't need to carry a team.
Right.
I think, they'll put it on the back of T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward and Minka Fitzpatrick and the rest of that defensive, prowess that has really carried the team since Ben Roethlisberger retired. They've kind of had that quarterback carousel, and they've still been, playoff contenders every year and for the most part have gone to the postseason. And Tomlin's been able to avoid that losing record that we talk about so much. Right. So I think given all that, Aaron Rodgers, there won't be necessarily the pressure to carry a team. Now, obviously, there will be scrutiny and pressure because he's playing in Pittsburgh. Right. The expectations are not just to get to the postseason, but to make some noise in that postseason. Right. They haven't won a playoff game since the end of the 2016 season, before they were smashed by the Jacksonville Jaguars and Leonard Fournette and that run that they had. But I think, the Steelers, I think, are hoping they can catch lightning in a bottle. And I think, when you talk about the 2020 Buccaneers, I don't think anybody expected Tom Brady to go down there and lead them to win a Super Bowl. Right. And I think, you talk about Aaron Rodgers and what he's capable of. Sometimes these legendary players, have one last run in them and one last tank of gas. You even saw it with Drew Brees as seemed like his career was fading. And then they had that good run with Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, and they were very competitive again, and even, had that controversial call in the NFC Championship game that allowed the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. But, sometimes these quarterbacks, one last hurrah, they're able to make it happen. I think that's what the Steelers are hoping, and in a way that Aaron Rodgers won't have to carry the team. He'll just have to be a bit player that can maybe win games in the fourth quarter and guide that team in 25.
He is Omar Ruiz of the NFL Network, giving us the latest around the NFL and with your Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, Omar, I am humbled. Happy Father's Day to you, and enjoy the weekend, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road.
All right, RJ. Yeah, best of wishes for you this weekend as well. And, look forward to catching up again soon.
Absolutely. There he goes, Omar Ruiz of the NFL Network. Appreciate his time here on the program. When we come back, the morning show crew did ask this question. I think it was posed by E.T. What makes a superstar? And who is a superstar when it comes to that of the NBA? Let's talk about it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This U.S. Open update on 1010XL is brought to you by TopDressing.com.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 125th U.S. Open Golf Championship. Sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, we help, you save. Five-time PGA Tour winner Sam Burns shot 65 in the morning. It's looking better and better. 3 under for the week in a tie for the lead at Oakmont. J.J. Spawn made bogeys at 15 and 16 to drop back to -2. 2 over for the day, but on the way to making a cut at a U.S. Open for the first time in his career. Tristan Lawrence is back to 3 under, tied for the lead with Burns. Thomas Dietrich 2 under. Victor Hovland 1 under. The cut line right now +7. Rory McIlroy is on that number after a birdie at 15. Defending champion Bryson DeChambeau lost 3 shots in his last 2 holes. Right now he's +9. With this U.S. Open report, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
The Jeep brand has always stood for American freedom. And now we're standing with you with Employee Pricing Plus. Hurry into your Jeep brand dealer for details today and join the family. Jeep, there's only one. Offer valid on select 2024 and 2025 Jeep brand vehicles for non-FCA employees and retirees. $200 admin fee applies. Not all buyers will qualify. Restrictions apply. Does not apply to leases. Ends 6/30/25. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Hey, John, have you seen the exciting 2025 lineup at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got the Lyric, IQ, Optique, and the stunning Vistique. It's a Cadillac lover's dream.
And the best part, over 100 new Cadillacs are in stock and ready for you to drive home today.
Plus, it's the perfect time to trade in your Tesla and experience luxury and performance like never before.
Visit us today at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Don't miss out on these incredible vehicles. Your new Cadillac awaits.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway for all your outdoor living needs. Let them show you how a durable paver driveway can enhance your home. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Get tips from PGA pros on Brunch with the Tour with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Tuesday morning at 8:30. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and Apex Roofing and Contracting. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Prosser here. Get those boats ready. The Dailies Old School Kingfish Shootout, presented by Yellowfin, is almost here. It's Saturday, June 14th. Just go to oldschoolkingfish.com to find out more. The grand prize is a Yellowfin bay boat worth $125,000, and with limited boundaries, no bait buying, and no checkout, it is seriously old school. Here's how you do it. You go online, you sign up, and you become part of what was always a terrific tournament. It's the Old School Kingfish Shootout. oldschoolkingfish.com.
With the first pick in the 2025 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 plumbing, septic, and air conditioning contractor in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked #1?
Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help with any plumbing, septic, or AC issue, just give us a call and relax. We'll send one of our first-round draft picks to tackle your problems today. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
The 2025 season schedule has dropped, and single-game tickets are on sale now. Be at the bank to watch Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL. Don't miss your favorite matchup and secure your tickets now by visiting Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. See you this fall, Jags fans.
Yes, sir. That's the best decision. I love it.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beard's has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beard's now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beard's can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol. Beard's Diamonds at St. John's Town Center.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Leon Searcy here. There's a little bit less of the big fella right now, thanks to physician-guided weight loss. I'm down 15 pounds in just 2 months. Already feeling better than I have in years. And with no side effects using their GLP-1 prescription. Gotta admit, it's pretty easy. And right now, you can get the first month at just $90 with a visit, the meds, and the 3D body scan. Don't wait to bring sexy back. Get started now with physician-guided weight loss at pgweightloss.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
So I've asked many a times who truly belongs in, let's just say, the GOAT conversation in the NBA. I feel we have many candidates for the GOAT conversation. You have Jordan, you have Kobe, LeBron, but you always forget guys like Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson. But if we were to shrink this conversation down, and a lot of this is because of Tyrese Halliburton, and is he a fringe superstar or is he just a superstar outright? I don't know if there's just one particular criteria in order for an individual to become said superstar. And that's the problem, honestly, I've had with a lot of these debates. We just really don't have a certain criteria. Honestly, I don't think we ever will. What makes someone the GOAT or what makes someone a superstar, we'll really just never know. I think that there's always just a feel. What an individual made you feel. That's what Stuart Scott talked about when he did a poetry piece on Michael Jordan. Every time you turned on the TV, he made you feel something. You go into my era, Kobe Bryant made me feel something. The hairs would stand up. all throughout my body when I saw Kobe Bryant playing the game of basketball. But here's what NBA Hall of Famer Magic Johnson said in terms of what comes to his mind when it comes to having the label of superstar.
A person who can go on the road and sell the building.
There we go. That should be. It's a simple definition.
Simple. I'm going to see that person, right?
So you ain't talking skill on the court. That's it. You talk about
draw.
Box office.
Yeah, you got to be box
Magic's in town. You're going to the game.
Yeah, a superstar got to say, man, or you running home from the office and saying, oh, I got to see him on TV, right? And that's what Larry Bird, people running home, right? Charles Barkley, people running home. Shaq, people running home. Kobe, people running home. And then, of course, the greatest that's ever played, Michael Jordan, people going running home to see him. Or they're trying their best to get into the arena to see that brother play. That's a superstar who could go on the road and sell the building out.
Now, for me, I don't know how many guys in the league today you're saying if they come into your town, you're selling out the arena just because there's individuals who want to see them play live. I think Ja Morant was there. I think the NBA at some point was going to have to make a decision as to, is Ja Morant not only just going to be the face of our league, but is this someone we promote as one of the faces of our league? It was Allen Iverson-esque. He's got the tattoos. Iverson had the cornrows. You're seeing that Ja Morant, with the braids. But kids want to dress like him. Kids want to do the dance. Kids want to say, it's a parade inside my city, yeah. Then he gets in trouble. And I think the NBA is now saying that we have at least an opportunity to hold off as to whether or not we want to look at him as one of those guys because they prefer one of the more clean-cut type of guys. Zion had the opportunity. I mean, heck, they probably would have encouraged LeBron to retire a couple years sooner if Zion Williamson wasn't getting in the trouble he was getting into. You have a guy like Jason Tatum, for me, it just feels he has all of the tools to be a superstar in this league. But I guess there are individuals out there, whether diehard or casual fans, that don't believe he has the aura or his game isn't as flashy as that of Anthony Edwards. So is Wemby that guy? Luka Doncic, in my opinion, is certainly that guy. But I couldn't say or look at a Nikola Jokic and say he's not a superstar. Now, I don't know if you're selling out the arena. If you're the fan of, let's say, the Orlando Magic, and you're saying, I got to go to the Denver Nuggets game because I want to watch Jokic. I understand his game may not be as flashy, but he is so damn good on the floor, and he kills my Lakers every year. But I also look at that with Paolo Banchero. Game's not the flashiest, but he's a damn good player. And not the guy that you say is an NBA League Pass player. No, this is a guy that should be on national TV games, that you should be watching night after night after night. But I will say this. Let's listen to Kenny Smith. And this clip in particular, this is sparked by him and Shaq having a conversation as to whether or not Steph Curry should be a part of the GOAT debate. But there's something I want you to listen for that Kenny Smith says, and if you don't catch it, we'll break it down after this clip. Here's Kenny.
That pool is very thin.
Who's in it?
Michael Jordan.
Got it.
LeBron James.
Yes.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes.
And then we start reaching.
No, you don't reach. Mr. Bean?
Who?
Mr. Kobe Bean's not in the conversation?
He's right. He's next. Then we start reaching.
No.
Yeah, we start reaching after.
Kobe Bean, and I'm saying I think I put Steph Curry in that conversation.
I'm just saying, to me, that's the pool to me. Kareem, LeBron, Michael, because they dominate in so many areas. They can have an off shooting night and affect everything that goes in the game.
He had an off shooting night in the first half. You saw
No.
Second half?
Defensively, rebounding, block shots.
Come on, Ernie, you just left me.
Leadership.
Effortless.
He's a great now.
So for me, I kind of look at that criteria, and Kenny's always pointed it out. Can you affect the game in 5 different ways. And he talks about rebounding, leadership, shooting, of course, shooting and scoring, just to name a few. And I think that's what made Jordan so great. And you argue all the time. I mean, Jordan did several things well. But how many guys in the league today are you saying dominate in every aspect? If they have an off shooting night, they can still affect the game and lead their team to victory. Now, I do understand the celebrity aspect. This is one thing I loved about Jerry West when it came to Kobe Bryant, that he said, listen, he was universally known as one name. You didn't have to say a full name or what he did to even a guy who's not the biggest basketball fan. You say Kobe, they know who you're talking about. But if you look at what he was able to do even on off shooting nights, let's go back to Game 7 between the Lakers and the Celtics in 2010. He shot 6 for 24? But got his ass down there with the trees and got 12, 14 rebounds. Also, his leadership helped carry the Lakers to that Game 7 victory. He was able to do several other things on the court. Now, this isn't to be confused with GOAT debates, but guys like Jordan, guys like Magic, guys like Kareem, guys like Kobe, LeBron James does it as well. They're able to affect the game in so many ways. And maybe we're overlooking that when we describe superstars. Because this debate as to whether or not Halliburton is a superstar, I'm good for or against. But there are parts of me that says he's been more clutch than that of the guy who was named the most clutch player this year, at least in the playoffs, and as far as that's concerned, and Jalen Brunson. And his game isn't the most flashiest, but I do consider that guy a superstar, or he's on the fringe. Is Tyrese Halliburton there or not, in your opinion? I would love to know. 641-1010. When we come back, let's discuss and break down these NBA Finals. Game 4 is tonight. We'll speak with a guy who's had experience in the NBA playoffs and postseason pressure, and maybe he can help us define what a superstar is in today's NBA. Ryan Hollins is going to join us next right here on Open Gym.
This U.S. Open update on 1010XL is brought to you by TopDressing.com.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 125th U.S. Open Golf Championship. U.S. Open golf is a thin line between success and disaster. Victor Hovland made 3 bogeys and a double, but added 5 birdies and an eagle to shoot 2 under 68 today and stand at 1 under for the championship. Good enough for a tie for 3rd. After his round, Hovland admitted it was a long day.
Definitely tired, exhausted, because you're just focusing so much on every single shot. You know, I'm very pleased with 2 under par, but also I know that I was 4 under at some point and missed a short putt on 6. But we're in a really nice spot after 2 days, so I'm just kind of happy.
Sam Burns leads at 3 under. The cut looks like +7. Defending champion Bryson DeChambeau outside the line, +7 today, 10 over for the week. With this U.S. Open report, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
The Jeep brand has always stood for American freedom. And now we're standing with you with Employee Pricing Plus. Hurry into your Jeep brand dealer for details today and join the family. Jeep, there's only one. Offer valid on select 2024 and 2025 Jeep brand vehicles for non-FCA employees and retirees. $200 admin fee applies. Not all buyers will qualify. Restrictions apply. Does not apply to leases. Ends 6/30/25. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Associates, keeping the first coast focused.
Neck pain, back pain, or headache, Shinatri Chiropractic has 4 locations: Westside, 103rd, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
Hunters know patience is part of the game.
Just got to keep hunting.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Waltz on the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Pizza to Tea here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch? From lunch to late night, only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Stick around after the sunset, and Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Come on, somebody.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job, and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with
Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I always brag on what you guys have on-road and off-road. But, Greg, tell everybody about what's happening on the water, because you got loads of opportunity.
We do. We've got lots of boats in stock. We got the Honda 19-foot Fisher Runabout. We've got the Coach pontoons, all of them with that legendary Honda motor and legendary Honda reliability, which you always want when you're out on the water.
You could be cruising along the Intercoastal or out on the ocean, but check it out. Facebook page ready for all of you to see, Cycles of Jacksonville, or their showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, it is the Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you. We are moments away from Game 4 of this NBA Finals series between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And nobody knows playoffs more than our next guest. He hails from Pasadena, California, went to John Muir High School, and honestly, I don't like that very much because as a kid that grew up in the Monrovia and Arcadia area and went to Arcadia High School, John Muir kicked our ass every year in basketball. But this guy had a long career in the NBA following his time collegiately at UCLA, and now does a great job as an NBA analyst and doing phenomenal work with the Houston Rockets. He is Mr. Ryan Hollins, and he's so gracious to give us a couple moments of his time to talk about these NBA Finals. Ryan, how are you?
Good.
It's absolutely an honor having you on. And before we go deep into this NBA Finals series, just what have been your thoughts on this championship round as a whole? Because I heard from many that the ratings aren't great because there are no big market teams in these NBA Finals. But in my opinion, 2 of the first 3 games have been very good. And I think we're in for a treat tonight. So just how have you liked the series thus far?
Man, from the basketball purists, we love what we're seeing. You got ball movement, the best team that moves the basketball on one end with the Pacers, and you have the best, one of the best defenses we've probably ever seen with Oklahoma City, the way they can pressure the basketball. The truth is, you don't have the superstar, the A-list, the off-the-court names, and you hope that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander becomes one of those names. He's the MVP this season. He's got the swag. He's got the fashion. He has the confidence, and he could grow into one of those players. But ultimately, at the end of the day, these guys aren't the household names. But the NBA has been looking for the next heir apparent, and right. you got to understand that takes time. And you see the LeBrons and the Durants and the Currys starting to I'm not going to say fizzle out, but slow down. They're playing at a high clip, but you're used to seeing one of those names, the Luka Doncic's, one of those names in the championship every season.
Staying on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for just a moment, he is the MVP of the league this season. Also a guy that I think you can argue can be one of the faces of the NBA once we see guys like LeBron, Steph, and KD ride off into the sunset. For you being a guy who's been in the NBA and have seen players rise to the occasion of becoming one of those faces of the league and becoming superstars in their own right, what makes a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander so special?
Plays at his own pace. You can't speed him up. He's unique. When you talk about the greats, they kind of have their own style. He's a big guard. You can't take the basketball from him. And just, again, the biggest thing is his own pace and scoring over contact. So when you're guarding those guys, as a defender, you either want to, back off them, let them shoot, speed them up. You want to dictate what they're going to do. And when you're playing against Shai, he dictates what happens. Right. You get over aggressive. He knows how to draw fouls. Clearly. So he's a tough cover with his size, and he's got like this calm demeanor that even when you try to get under his skin and bump him, he doesn't seem too flustered by anything. He just keeps on playing.
Continuing our conversation with longtime NBA veteran Ryan Hollins, now doing phenomenal work with the Houston Rockets. He joins us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. In your opinion, why are the Indiana Pacers up 2-1 in this series?
They move the basketball. They play together. And the biggest reason, if you want to take it away, they execute down the stretch. They're going to get a good look. And it's tough to guard them, because it's not like, okay, keying on Halliburton and get off the ball to Siakam.
Right.
You know, if Neesmith is cooking, they'll go through Neesmith. Like, the ball moves. Obi Toppin might be having a monster game. They don't mind allowing any of the other guys to score. So at the end of the day, that's where they're tough to guard. And not just OKC, but commonly in basketball, what do you see? You see pick and roll to isolation.
Right.
That's the down the stretch offense for a lot of teams, and you're playing against the ball movement in the fourth quarters and overtimes in tight spots for the Pacers, and OKC's going one-on-one. So at a point, they start to get worn down, and that's why in those close games, that's what ends up hurting them.
Now, Ryan, although the Indiana Pacers are up 2-1 in this series, I still don't know who's going to be hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of all this. But going into Game 4, does Indiana have the clear-cut advantage, or is OKC battle-tested enough to tie this series by night's end, in your opinion?
Would nothing surprise me, man, if Indy goes up 3-1.
Wow.
You're going to see desperation from OKC. But understand that, you know, OKC's already made changes in their lineup and the way they played, to where they're making the early changes, and the Pacers haven't had to really adapt much. They're just playing the way they've been playing.
Right.
Going in on a road, you know, pressure can get to them. And these are a lot of guys first, don't get me wrong, but because Indiana has played those tighter games where Oklahoma City has been blowing teams out, they're kind of going through a trial and error process that they haven't had all season. And sometimes when you're such a dominant team, such a great team, in the regular season and earlier rounds, it can hurt you once things get tight. And I think that's really what it's coming down to, because we get a tight game, we're going to go Indiana. We get a blowout, you know, you're up 20 or 30, you're going OKC, and OKC understands that.
Having a great conversation with 10-year NBA vet, now analyst for the Houston Rockets, Ryan Hollins, joining us here on Open Gym. I asked this last night, Ryan, and I want to ask you, because it's been such a big debate since these playoffs have begun when it comes to that of Tyrese Halliburton and whether or not he's a superstar. You played in the league. You watch the game at a closer level than we do. So you know what goes into it in terms of becoming a superstar, where guys in the league are able to separate themselves from the stars to become superstars. Is Tyrese Halliburton that, in your opinion, or is he flirting with that title at all?
I mean, he's unique. And I think the tough part about quantifying what it is, he has excellent instincts. So his instincts are a 10 of 10. You know, we'll put everything else probably around the 7, 8 level, but his instincts are a 10 of 10. So if he feels like his team needs a big shot, he'll step up and hit it. He's not going to overwhelm you with his size or speed even. You know, he's a guy that you can guard, but he just has an unbelievable feel for the game of basketball. So, no, he's not going to overpower you. He's not going to dominate you with scoring. And unfortunately, a lot of people, when they quantify that megastar, you need the mega points. You know, right. And in my opinion, that's why LeBron James is never going to get his due from a lot of guys. We like to reward scoring. And for Halliburton, that's not his game. Now, obviously, he can be more dominant. I don't know if I give him the superstar tag, but it's rare that you have guys that just have that clutch gene, and he's got it. And you'd argue that he was more clutch than Mr. Clutch, and that's Jalen Brunson. You saw that. So,
right.
He's got a unique talent, and I don't know if I'm giving him superstar yet, but I would say just his instincts. He's got superstar instincts if you want to run with that.
One more for you that surrounds the NBA and these NBA finals before I get to the Houston Rockets and how excited you are about their future. Have you enjoyed the parity that we have seen in the NBA? I mean, Ryan, this is going to be our 7th different NBA champion, and I think that gives many teams hope going into next year. But parts of me like dynasties, and I'm biased when I say that because I grew up in LA and I watched Shaq and Kobe dominate. But has the parity we've seen now in 7 different NBA champions, is that good for the product?
Yeah, because you can draw fan bases. and that's important. But I do also believe the power in having a dominant star and having a household name. And I think the appreciation should be shifting towards LeBron James because he did it for, 20 years?
Yes.
He gave the NBA something to talk about. He's become a household name. You know, he brings that star aura. Whenever you see him in person, he's got energy around him, and he brings people out. You know, let's make it as simple as this. You'll pay to see LeBron James, right? If
Absolutely.
LeBron comes in town, you're going to say, I'll pay to go see. When you talk about superstars, they're faces of the league. It's as simple as you want to say, who are those guys? You say a guy that I will pay my hard-earned money to go see.
Right.
He's one of those names. The NBA is looking for that next name. So if you want to ask who that is, whether it be an Anthony Edwards or a Anthony Towns or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who would you take your money to go pay and watch? That's the NBA's next face and the next superstar.
Continuing our conversation with Ryan Hollins, had a phenomenal 10-year career in the NBA, now doing analyst work with the Houston Rockets. And speaking of the Houston Rockets, if OKC is having success like this and getting to the NBA Finals, and many assume that they're going to be in this position for years to come, I think that Houston is nearly following that same blueprint where they've been able to get the homegrown guys in which they've been able to acquire, grow them and mold them to where now they're going to become one of the more dominant teams, not only in the Western Conference, but in the NBA. It's not the ending that they wanted to their season, but you cover the ball club. Just what do you make of the year they had, and how excited are you for the future of this young Rockets group?
Extremely excited, man. You have a group of young talent, a slew of talent, and those are called rich people problems when you got so many guys that are playing well. You got an unbelievable coach in my mind, the best in the NBA in Ime Udoka, and you got culture built. So, you know, when guys come in, they fit between a culture like, hey, I want to do this, this, and this to fit within what you guys have going. So I really love what we're seeing from Ime and Houston and the Rockets, and for myself, man, it's been fun watching these kids get to where they need to go, and even better, you got young stars, young rising stars with the Rockets that are coachable. And to see a group in today's NBA that's coachable has been really fun to watch. And, you know, how humble have those guys been this year?
If you were the Rockets, would you go all in to acquire Kevin Durant?
Dude, that's above my pay grade. But if it works out, man, I think KD would be an unbelievable addition. I think the best thing with the Rockets is they have options. You know, you got the team that you can run it back with, and I don't think anybody has a problem with. And if you add a guy like Kevin Durant who can still play at a high level, who's a champion, and you've seen his leadership and MVP of the league, you also can't go wrong there. So I think it's a fun place to be for the Houston Rockets, where you're not forced into a decision.
We're joined by Ryan Hollins, former NBA veteran, now analyst for the Houston Rockets. You were a part of that 2014 LA Clippers team in Lob City, and although I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fan and I appreciate you guys for not winning an NBA championship, that team damn near looked unstoppable, bro. I wasn't there in the arena to see the DeAndre Jordan poster that still gets played to this day when he punched on Brandon Knight. I still don't know to this day why Brandon Knight decided to jump with a guy in DeAndre Jordan who at that time all you had to do was throw it to the moon and he's going to catch it and he's going to dunk it. You were there. You had a courtside seat to it all, being on that Clippers bench. Just take us behind the curtain of just what that experience was like. I understand the crowd was on their feet and they were going crazy, and you guys on the sideline, it just looked to me, you guys were like, oh my gosh, what did we just witness?
That was pretty much Chris Paul. So Chris and DJ were actually working on it, and Chris is so smart. He was like, DJ, every time we run pick and roll, teams like pre-ice the pick and roll. So he said, in transition, I want you to take one step fake and run to the rim. And him and DJ actually worked on that in practice. One step fake, run to the rim. And when he did it, I don't know if people know, there was like he dunked, and Brandon Knight's body, boom, like there was like a boom, like it hit the floor. And he like DJ came down, like, you know, kids play on the dresser, you know, we play with, and then you fall on your brother or something, right? Boom, like he hits he was dunking, and Brandon Knight slid over with his full body to try to like foul DJ, and DJ jumped so high, he boom. and Brandon Knight's body bounced off the floor. People don't notice. It was about maybe 5 to 15 minutes, felt like 15. The paramedics came out, and Brandon Knight laid there for like 10 minutes, bro.
Oh my gosh.
If you watch the clip, I almost ran on the floor.
I remember that.
I almost ran on the floor. So it was like, it was a genuine shock. Like, we've seen a lot, but what did we just witness there? You know, what did we just witness? It was like that. It was literally like that.
That is absolutely one of my favorite highlights. I understand I'm a Lakers fan, but no, listen, one of my favorite highlights ever is that Los Angeles Clippers Lob City team, the DeAndre Jordan dunk on Brandon Knight. I think Brandon Knight, Ryan, is still trying to recover from that dunk that DeAndre Jordan gave him. But, I mean, it's been an incredible experience just being able to talk with you, Mr. Hollins. Hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road to just be talking about the Houston Rockets or the NBA at large. I appreciate it so much being an LA kid and being from that Pasadena, Arcadia area, speaking with you, man. Just appreciate the time, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
I hear your excitement. You got a real career. Good to hear someone from the city doing things, man, and you keep up the good work, man. I see your work, my brother.
From pit road to victory lane.
He'll bypass him on the back straightaway.
Sunday in Mexico City.
That should be all she wrote.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower. 1010XL.
Summer in Jacksonville is coming in hot. Lauren Brooks here. Beat the heat with Turbo Tint. Their window tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays and keeps your ride cool and comfortable. Book today at orangepark.turbotint.com.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer. DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser share the huddle with Freddie T. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Fred Taylor, he's a candidate to go the distance.
On 1010XL.
Rebound Rehabilitation. 11 great locations across the First Coast, and they're just a click away when it comes to feeling strong and healthy again. If you need the best path to recovery, look no further than Rebound Rehab. Log on and check out one of their great 11 locations.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's your good boy? Oh, what?
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor fans, we've crafted the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Dailies Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Dailies is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to help support domestic violence victims, you can get involved in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament hosted by Micah's Place at the Golf Club of Amelia Island on June 20th. Register and learn more at micahsplace.org/golf.
If your 4 to 18-year-old plays sports, they can get a free physical at the Ascension Sports Clinic at the Greater Church of God on Old Middleburg Road, July 12th. To learn more, call 308-7558.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at ViStar Ballpark November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
Canines for Warriors provides veterans with lifelong companions in one of their highly trained service dogs. If you know a veteran who could benefit from a companion or simply want to support, visit caninesforwarriors.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Need the right tools for the job without the full-time price tag? Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach is what you need when you need it. From heavy machinery for commercial projects to weekend projects at the house, we've got you covered. We've been serving Jacks for 50 years. Visit Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach, just behind Aqua East Surf Shop, or call today. We also have event rentals too. Tucker Equipment Rentals. Tools you need without the price tag of purchasing.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated ViStar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Many thanks to Ryan Hollins breaking down the NBA Finals for us. And during the break, me and Dylan were having a discussion about it. I don't know who's going to win Game 4 tonight. It really feels like it can go either way. But, I mean, give me the whole 7-game series between these two ball clubs. It's really been some great basketball. Hopefully a team that's in the mix of all of that next season is the Orlando Magic, and our next guest is a Magic man in his own right. He is Philip Rossman-Reich, host of Locked On Magic, writer for Orlando Magic Daily. He now joins us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM to talk about the Orlando Magic in Central Florida. Philip, how are you?
I am doing good, enjoying these finals like you guys are, and getting ready for a very, very busy offseason here in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Now, the Orlando Magic, during this time of the NBA playoffs going into the NBA Finals, they have officially rebranded. You have a new logo, new jerseys. Just what did you make of the freshness of the ball club from a rebranding standpoint?
Yeah, I really, really liked it. When I first got my eyes on the new look and the new logo, I was really impressed. You know, I think the number one comment I get from fans whenever we talk about jerseys is, why don't they just go back to the original pinstripes? And I have to explain to them carefully that, you know, the league doesn't allow that. You know, once you retire a logo, they send the licensing off to Mitchell and Ness, and they hold on to that thing for dear life. And so to do this and to do something that calls back to those original word marks, that original logo, those original jerseys, but give it a modern twist, give it something new and something different. I really think they hit it out of the park. They listened to the fans, and I think the fans have responded really well to that and have embraced the new look. And obviously, at the end of the day, we'll see how it looks on the court and how the team does in them, and I think that's what matters most.
Now, what do you make of the jersey that's really paying homage to the warm-up suits that Shaq and Penny used to wear in the 90s. It feels like there are some individuals who are Magic fans that are saying it's just going to take me some time to warm up to them. But when I first saw them, I said, these look absolutely amazing. How did you think about those jerseys in particular?
I looked at them, and the first thing I thought is, like, this is going to be the one that everyone talks about.
Right.
Like, it's like the blue one, the white one to me was, like, perfect. The blue one, there's some people that can disagree with some things, but it was right on point. Like, just call back to the original jersey. This one was very much something new, and I'm not against two-tone jerseys. I know there's been a mixed bag of them. I will, like, honestly, like, my first reaction is always, whenever you have a big corporation that is, trying something new, I want to applaud them for doing something new, for doing something different, for taking a risk. This jersey may not be for everyone, and my understanding is that it's only slated to be worn for a couple of seasons. It's not a permanent jersey. They'll rotate that one out of rotation here in the next couple of years.
Okay.
But I think that it does look very good, and if you know and understand what it's calling back to, it really works. And again, it flows with that theme of we're embracing our identity, our past, our history, and I think that jersey does that, and it's something different and something new. And again, I think I always have to kind of check myself. Like, I'm a little bit older, I'm in my 30s. These jerseys aren't for me. So if there's a 6 or 7-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid who looks at that jersey and says that's the sickest thing in the world,
right,
if kids still say sick, that's probably what matters to them in the end. And so I think doing something bold, doing something that's a little bit of a statement. I think it is the statement edition jersey. That to me is something to applaud. And again, like, is it for everybody? Probably not, but I think they did a really good job with it, and I get what they were going for, and I appreciate the effort. Continuing
our conversation with Philip Rossman-Reich. He is the host of Locked On Magic, also a writer for Orlando Magic Daily, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We've talked about the freshness with the rebrand. Now, there's probably going to be some freshness to the ball club in the form of roster moves over the summer, and one that's been making waves over the past few days when it comes to this possibility or the idea of adding Jordan Poole to the roster. I understand that the Magic need shot making to pair up with Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs, but is that a piece in which you would say that makes sense for the Orlando Magic?
It does, because obviously the Magic need offense. They need guys who can score. They need some guys who can create their own shot. They need someone that can spread the floor and make threes. And, for all the flaws that are inherent in Jordan Poole, and some of it is a product of him playing for a Washington Wizards team that's still rebuilding, still kind of figuring themselves out,
right,
a product of him being kind of miscast as your lead player, as your star player. Obviously, if he comes to Orlando, he's not going to be needed to do that. They're going to need him to shoot 20 times every night. They'll still need him to shoot 5, 6, 7 threes a game, perhaps, but they don't need him to take over games. And there'll be a game here or there where he does. And I think the Magic do need that type of player. The ultimate question, though, for the Magic is, as you're looking to add these offensive players, and a player like Anthony Simons from the Portland Trailblazers is very much in the same boat. I think Magic fans have liked the idea of going after Kobe White from the Chicago Bulls, Austin Reeves from the Los Angeles Lakers, all these offensive first guys. Is how much of your defense are you willing to sacrifice? Can you teach a Jordan Poole to play Magic-style defense or to hold his own defensively so that you're maximizing what he can give you offensively? And I think that is the ultimate question that nobody really knows. Jordan Poole hasn't had to play defense, at a high level since he was with Golden State 2 years ago. And obviously things kind of blew up on him in Golden State with the situation with Draymond Green. But Poole has proven he can play on a winning team before, and obviously he's evolved and grown as a player since then. Even if you have misgivings about Jordan Poole or a player like him, he is the exact kind of player this Magic team has to consider bringing in and has to consider going after.
Now, who are some guys on the Magic roster currently that you do believe could possibly be on the move if there was a deal to be in place for Jordan Poole, maybe a Anthony Simons, maybe even that of a Cam Johnson? You also bring up Kobe White from the Chicago Bulls and even Austin Reeves from the LA Lakers. Just who are a few of those pieces that you feel the Magic would have to say goodbye to in order to acquire one of those stars to bring to the roster?
Yeah, the Magic essentially are going to hold on to their three key players.
Right.
Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs, who was involved in some trade speculation from some media members throughout the offseason so far. Those three guys I feel like are completely safe. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
Everybody else on the roster, you can't say they're 100% certain going to stay. If you're going to bring in a player like Jordan Poole, that would probably mean you're going to trade Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You're going to trade a starter for a starter. KCP was the starting 2-guard last year. You're bringing Jordan Poole in essentially to fill that spot.
Right.
There's reporting suggesting the Magic are willing to package Cole Anthony and Jonathan Isaac. Cole Anthony really struggled last year. Had some good moments, had some big games, but really struggled. And again, struggled a lot in the playoffs for the second straight year. And I think that's obviously where things matter. And Jonathan Isaac, as much as he's an elite player, you might have to cash in on teams who still believe he's elite to go get the guy that you need to build your team. And having a $15 million guy who's going to play 15 minutes per game can't possibly displace either of your starters. This might be the time to consider moving on from him. But everybody on the roster has to be kind of on the block, or you have to be willing to discuss them. There's obviously a math problem to figure out with all the salaries and salary cap rules that are involved. These are the big contracts they're going to be able to move around. And then obviously the Magic have some free agency things to consider as well as part of their larger strategy for the summer.
Final couple of moments with Philip Rossman-Reich of Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic joining us here on Open Gym. Coach Jamal Mosley goes on SiriusXM NBA radio and says that seeing this Indiana Pacers run, he texted his entire team and said, listen, this could very well be us next year. And Phil, I really think that the East is going to be wide open, especially after what we have seen the Indiana Pacers do this year. Could Orlando, in your opinion, with the right roster moves and with Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs being healthy, and we already know what they bring to the table, could they have a great run next year, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's absolutely certain they can. You look at the Indiana Pacers before they traded for Pascal Siakam last year, they were kind of the mirror image of the Orlando Magic. They were one of the top offenses in the league and a very pedestrian, almost poor defense. And they bring in Siakam, they kind of tinker around with some things, and they find a defense that really clicks for them and does enough so that their offense can just overpower teams. That's what the Magic are trying to do right now. They have a defense that is elite, that is dominant, second best defense in the league by defensive rating last year. Orlando is looking for just enough offense to power them past that moment and enough depth and scoring depth especially to get through the playoffs so that Paolo doesn't wear down in a Game 5 or Franz Wagner doesn't wear down in a Game 5 having to carry this team and that huge offensive load. So, you think about last season, Orlando went 41-41 despite their 4 top scorers all missing more than 20 games and all missing serious time. Paolo Banchero missed 2 months with the oblique injury. Franz Wagner missed 6 weeks. Jalen Suggs played only 35 games. Mo Wagner was out in December. The Magic got to 41-41, made the playoffs despite these massive injuries. The Magic, I think, fully believe that if they were healthy, they would have been in that 4-5 series or been the 6th seed. And competing right there with the Indiana Pacers to the end of the season. Now, would that be enough to get them over the hump of the playoffs? That's the ultimate question. That's the next step for this team. But I think the Magic look at a team like the Pacers and say, there is no reason to believe we can't do what they did in the regular season and no reason to believe that we can't copy that success if we get the right matchups, if we play with that confidence in the playoffs. They know they have the talent, they have the ability, they have the top-end talent especially. So I don't think they feel like they're that far, especially with the way the East is going to look next year.
Before we let you go, who you got tonight for Game 4?
I do think the Thunder are going to take it tonight. I think we saw, I don't want to say a fluky game because I want to give Indiana all the credit in the world, but right. Oklahoma City does not turn the ball over that much. They're not going to do that again. Indiana had to win that game. They got the Ben Mathurin game. They got the high turnover game. They had to win that game. They got the job done. OKC was still in it. I still think OKC is still the favorite to win this series, and I think they'll take it tonight and even it up.
All right, Philip, before we let you go, let the fans here in Jacksonville know how they can get a hold of you and your great work.
Yeah, the best place to find my work is over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. That's where I do a lot of my written work, just culling through all the rumors right now and trying to figure out what the Magic are going to do here in the next few weeks. And then you can also check out my podcast, Locked On Magic. You can download that wherever you download podcasts, as well as find it on YouTube. Again, that is Locked On Magic.
He is Philip Rossman-Reich, the Orlando Magic insider, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Philip, thank you so much. Enjoy Game 4, and we'll talk to you sometime down the road, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on.
There he goes, Philip Rossman-Reich of the Orlando Magic podcast, Orlando Magic Daily, Locked On Magic. When we come back, we'll close the show, get your thoughts on what's gone on in Also, talk about this New York Knicks situation. I do want to get into that a little bit. Who are they going to hire as their next head coach? We close things out right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This U.S. Open update on 1010XL is brought to you by TopDressing.com.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 125th U.S. Open Golf Championship. Sam Burns is a 5-time winner on the PGA Tour. He was on form entering this U.S. Open at Oakmont, having lost in a playoff at the RBC Canadian just a week ago. His 65 today, a career best for him at a U.S. Open, enough to give him the lead heading to the weekend. 3 under, he looks ahead to Saturday.
Look, it's a 72-hole golf tournament, and if you can get a round under par out here, no matter if it's 1 under, you'll take it. And so I think today was really nice, with the finish I had yesterday, and it felt like I played really well. So, I'm looking forward to the weekend.
J.J. Spawn right behind him at -2. Victor Hovland 1 under, seeking to become the first Scandinavian player ever to win a U.S. Open. 2013 Masters champ Adam Scott is even par. With this U.S. Open report, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's Glass. Those beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee and Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline goes there for you.
Work on three, 1, 2, 3,
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
You tired of high energy bills? Replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's 30th anniversary sale. Buy one window or patio door and get one 30% off. Financing options are available and this offer expires June 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Brendan here with Checkmate Coating. No massive overhead means top prices on top quality pool decks, driveways, garages, and patios too.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out The Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At The Y, summer camps every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
A big thank you to Omar Ruiz, who joined us in the first hour, breaking down all things NFL. Also, the Jacksonville Jaguars believes in Travis Hunter and what he's able to do defensively, and maybe stronger in that to start than doing what he is doing right now in the wide receiver position, in which the Jaguars want to place him in come week 1. Also, Brian Thomas Jr., he has as a top 15 wide receiver in the league, but only getting better. We were also joined by Ryan Hollins, breaking down the latest when it comes to the NBA Finals, whether or not we have a superstar on our hands in the form of Tyrese Halliburton, who we'll see later on tonight. And also the Orlando Magic rebrand. Philip Rossman-Reich liking the rebrand entirely, and also saying that, hey, those statement jerseys that you guys may have questions on, it may take a little bit of time to get used to, but there may be a lot of you out there that do like those jerseys that did pay homage to the warm-up suits that we saw worn by the great Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway in the 90s. I do want to close out with this. They do say that those who fail to plan to fail, and I don't know, as of right now, it doesn't look good, and I apologize to all my New York Knicks fans out there. It seems that the New York Knicks really did not have a plan after the decision to fire Tom Thibodeau. And my thoughts at the time was, if you were going to fire this guy, there may have been somebody that you had already talked to off the record that said, we're willing to take this head coaching position in New York because we like the pieces that you already have. Let's create some depth on the bench, because that's what's going to more than likely be needed for this New York Knicks team to get back to the position they were just this season alone. And you know what? Damn it, let's ride. However, I don't know where they're riding right now. Well, if I had to guess, they're riding right into a wall. But when it comes to Thibodeau, maybe they thought this was a guy who had probably maxed out his potential with this team. Although, in my eyes, that still doesn't make any sense. He took you to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. But the firing is probably akin to something that Bill Simmons explains that he saw back in 2003 with the Detroit Pistons.
This is an admission that they actually weren't as close to winning the title as maybe you think you were if you were one of the final 4 teams left. And there's previous examples of this. And one that I think is weirdly applicable in a bunch of different ways here is the 2003 Pistons, who moved on from Rick Carlisle. They hired Larry Brown. And people were really surprised because Rick Carlisle had done a good job with Detroit. He's a good coach, as we've seen. The question was, did Carlisle take this roster as far as it could go? On top of it, could Larry Brown bring us up an even further level? A guy who was intimately involved with that Pistons team behind the scenes was Worldwide Wes, William Wesley. And I find it hard to believe that him and Leon Rose, who run the Knicks team right now, weren't thinking about that specific example when they were thinking, did Tibbs take us as high as we could possibly go? Did we max out with Tibbs?
Now, I can't fault the Knicks in asking permission from guys who already have head coaching jobs just to kind of gauge interest. I think that was probably going to be something in which the New York Knicks would do, although it's head scratching in my opinion. All of the organizations in which you have asked, can we speak to their head coach, have all said no. They've all closed the door. Now, who is the fallback option? Is it Taylor Jenkins? Is it Mike Brown? Honestly, my leader in the clubhouse would probably be Mike Malone, but I think Mike Malone, it almost feels as if it is predicated upon if you keep Karl Anthony Towns, because I believe that you have a guy in Karl Anthony Towns and Mike Malone who's been kind of the big men whisperer. He's been able to handle big men fairly well during his tenure as a head coach. I mean, before Sacramento decided to foolishly fire him, I thought he had the Kings going in the right direction, which was spearheaded by their star DeMarcus Cousins. I thought he had Cousins playing some of his best basketball in his career at the time, because it just felt to me Michael Malone is also a guy that says to guys who we probably feel in the league are crazy, he's like, listen, I mean, you may think you know crazy, you know criminals. I'm crazy. And I think he spoke a language to DeMarcus Cousins that he understood. He won a championship with Nikola Jokic, and I think has brought out the best in Nikola in which we have seen. And he also preaches defense. Look at New York. New York seems to rely heavily on their defense as well. Can he do that with Karl Anthony Towns? Maybe he can, but it seems like New York Knicks fans, at least from what I saw after they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Indiana Pacers, you're now off of the Karl Anthony Towns train. Is Kevin Durant the guy? Is that the answer? I understand that Jalen Brunson does need help, and it really feels like to me you gave up Dante DiVincenzo to bring in Mikal Bridges for 5 first-round picks, and I believe that Mikal Bridges was going to be the guy that was going to be that secondary scorer for the New York Knicks. I enjoyed him heavily more on the defensive end than on the offensive end this season. Felt like he was trying to figure out his shot early on with the New York Knicks. I think Jalen Brunson does need a guy where he can say, listen, if I'm doing what I'm doing the first 3 quarters, I have another guy on my team that can take us home. And Karl Anthony Towns at least showed, for the most part, he can't be that guy consistently. Kevin Durant can. That's what would make the New York Knicks scary from a scoring standpoint, but I do believe that they also need bigs. Is Giannis the answer? Are you willing to give a king's ransom for Giannis? I think Giannis probably puts you maybe as a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Heck, I mean, maybe even top 2. The way that we saw this Eastern Conference Finals roll during the regular season, who would have thought that the Cleveland Cavaliers would have been the team to be atop of the Eastern Conference with the best record? I think last season they finished 4th. All of a sudden, they hire a guy in Kenny Atkinson, and J.B. Bickerstaff had done a great job with Cleveland. Kenny Atkinson comes in, fresh face, new offense, And I think Kenny Atkinson is also a guy that's been able to relate to young players. He did a great job in Brooklyn before they let him go. Can a coach here do that with the Knicks? Now, Hurley's out. Hurley says that he doesn't want to do it. You're going to bring in the Villanova coach, Jay Wright, just because of the connection that he has with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. Seems that he's happy with what he's doing right now in the second half of his career when it comes to basketball, being an analyst. At this point right now, I just don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know who the answer is. And that places a team like the New York Knicks, who are that close, it puts them in a bad spot, in my opinion. And that's what I hate. It just makes you look like, as much as we want to cheer for you, you have put yourself in a terrible, terrible, terrible spot. You had no plan. You had no plan when you fired Thibs. And even if the plan was, we're going to fire him unless he makes the NBA Finals, who was the guy? And you're asking individuals who already have head coaching jobs, you're asking their organizations, can we speak with you? And Jason Kidd seemed like he was only going to be the guy that probably would have been interested the most if he could leave. But at the same time, why would you want to leave Dallas, who has the number 1 overall pick, going to get in Cooper Flagg? You're still going to have Klay Thompson. I mean, the decaying body of him. He'll still have Anthony Davis. I understand his body is decaying too. But the first game Anthony Davis played in Dallas, I think had, 30 before the half? I think that's a team, if healthy, they're going to have something to say in the West. So you're out on him. I still think you have a couple of candidates here that are going to be able to do a few things with the roster you now have. But that roster does need to become better. That roster also needs to become deeper. Jalen Brunson is the most clutch player in the NBA. There was a reason why he won the award. But he needs more. Knicks fans need more. Let's see what the New York Knicks are able to do this offseason. Because this seems to be probably the most critical offseason the Knicks are going to have in quite some time. Because being close and being middle of the pack, it seems like this is just inches away from them, right? If they don't get the right head coach, if they don't do something with that roster, heck, if they don't get the star in which they want, it could be a very long offseason for the New York Knicks. As a basketball fan, I would hate to see that. That is going to do it for us. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. This has certainly been fun filling in for Ryan the Hacker Green as well as Rick Ballou. They will be back next week for Dylan Denmark. I am RJ Saunders. We will speak to you again next week right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.